All right, let's do this shit. All right. Roxanne versus Rhea Perez. Rhea Perez?
Rhea Perez,
Rhea
starting with
Ripley.
flying colors here.
Versus Rhea Ripley. All right, before the match, we get a video hype package. It shows the years both of these women have had. It shows the start of the year when Rhea pinned Charlotte. And then it shows Rhea and Roxanne's match at SummerSlam, which ended when Roxanne froze with the kendo stick before throwing it out the ring, giving Rhea enough time to hit a riptide and pin her. We then see Rox pin Charlotte. The similarities in this year continues as we see both women pin Mercedes and Bianca. And, and even covers the time they tagged together with Bianca. It finally sees Rox winning the Rumble and shows the brutal attack on Roxanne on Monday, leaving her less than 100%. It ends with Rhea's monologue against Roxanne, saying she can't win without cheating. Rox makes her entrance. Her ribs are all taped up from Monday. She's wincing whenever she turns. Michael Cole does confirm on commentary that she is in fact dealing with two cracked ribs. Rhea makes her entrance. Michael Cole says Rox woke something up inside Ripley. She's not mommy anymore. The Eradicator is back. Finally, the bell rings. The crowd is on their feet. Big fight feel. They finally lock up. Roxanne isn't strong enough, especially in her weakened state. Rhea quickly realizes this, goes straight for a massive headbutt, which basically knocks Roxanne out. With Rox weakened, Rhea immediately puts her into riptide position in the center of the ring. She hits it. One, two, kick out. Rhea smiles. We hear her say, "Good. Didn't want it to be that easy. I'm gonna have fun breaking you apart." And she goes right to work again. Constant lefts and rights. Roxanne can't even really block. She's on the ground, just praying for an opportunity. She finally gets one. Rhea stands up, starts showboating to the crowd. At this point, Rox has got zero offense in. Rhea goes back up to Rox when Rox hits a massive slap across Rhea's face. This stuns Rhea for a second. She grabs her jaw and smiles. "Finally, you woke up," she says. Rhea runs straight toward Rox for a clothesline, but Rox ducks and sweeps Rhea's legs out from under her. Rox starts unloading with kicks on Rhea's abdomen. Rhea's finally able to catch Roxanne's foot and throw it back so far that Rox falls on the mat. Rox is getting back up when Rhea hits a massive knee to her face. Rhea starts looking angry now. She grabs Rox, throws her out the ring. Rhea uh, goes and throws Rox toward all four of the barricade corners. She finally brings Rox toward the announce table where she starts slamming Rox's head across it. She does that 10 times before she stops to clear the table. The camera's focused on her. She goes to pick up Rox. When we see Rox again, her face has a crimson mask over it. Oh shit, you're echoing now.
Nope.
Okay. When her face has a crimson mask over it, Rhea smiles. She says, "So far, I've been playing with you, breaking you in like a new toy, but I'm having fun. Are you?" Rhea pulls Rox's lifeless body onto the announce table after she breaks the ref's count. Uh, Rhea signals that this is over. She goes to hit a riptide on the table, but mid-air, Rox reverses it and hits Rhea with a DDT on the table instead. The crowd starts cheering. Rox is trying to get up again. She starts slamming the floor with her hand to wake herself up. The crowd starts clapping along with her. Rhea is slow to get up. Rhea on her knees, about to get Rhea's on her knees, about to get all the way up when Rox, out of nowhere, hits a pop rocks on the announce table. The crowd pops even harder. Rox frantically is trying to get Rhea into the ring for the cover. The ref is at the count of 8 when Rox finally gets Rhea in for the cover. Rox finally is able to lay one hand on Rhea's chest. One kick out. Rhea kicks out with so much authority that she basically sits all the way up. Rox's face is full of disbelief. That might have been the most brutal pop Rox she could have given, and it wasn't enough. Rhea slowly turns her head towards Rox. She's laughing. Okay, that's a start, she says, before immediately throwing a punch at Rox. Rox dodges, uses her thighs to grab a hold of Rhea's arm, and locks her in a crossface in the middle of the ring. Rhea's in trouble. She has nowhere to go. She crawls towards the bottom rope just for Roxanne to use her feet to throw them back in the middle of the ring. The crowd is ready for it. Rhea looks like she's about to tap when she's finally able to turn the weight back on Rox for the cover. One, two, kick out. Rox quickly gets to her feet, but Rhea's quicker and hits another massive headbutt. Rox falls down. Rhea then locks her in a submission move. In her submission move, she has the prison trap locked in right in the middle of the ring. Nowhere to go for Rox. She's screaming in pain. She can't get to the ropes. Finally, in a move of desperation, she uses her body to fling Rhea out of the submission. Rhea goes flying headfirst into the ref. Starts sitting up, looking around to see what happened. She remembers something. She reaches into her pocket and she grabs Charlotte's brass knuckles, looking at them for a bit when she puts them on. The crowd is chanting no. She struggles to get to her feet. She's waiting for Rhea to stand up to hit her with them. Rhea takes a while, giving Rox more time to think. The crowd's still chanting no. Rox starts second guessing, not wanting to prove Rhea right. She last minute takes him off and throws him out of the ring. There, you guys happy? The crowd starts cheering. History repeats itself, just like SummerSlam. She turns around and gets hit with a massive headbutt by Rhea, quickly followed by a riptide in the middle of the ring. The crowd cheers get quickly silenced. Rhea covers. One, two, kick out. The crowd starts cheering again. Roxanne is gasping for air. That was all she had left in her. Rhea's in disbelief. Oh, you are leaving this ring in a body bag. Rhea looks around, thinking of what's next. She sees it. Now for the really fun part, she says. Rhea picks up rocks again, in riptide position. She walks towards the corner. She puts her right foot on the bottom rope, slowly climbing to the top. She's she's playing toward the crowd, taunting rocks in the process. She gets her left foot on the bottom rope, now the right foot on the middle rope, and now the left one on the middle rope. She took too long. Roxanne recovered just enough. She gets out of harm's way, pulls Rhea down. Rhea lands face first on the metal pole in the corner of the ring. Rhea's dangling on the top rope. Roxanne looks around. She climbs up to her. She starts smashing Rhea's face on the pole, yelling, "Still having fun?" She starts smashing her face faster. "Answer me!" She finally stops. Rox climbs to the top, uses all the strength she has left to pick up Rhea. They're both on the top rope. Roxanne, she hits a pop rocks off of the top rope. Cover. One, two, three. Here is your winner and the new WWE Women's World Champion, Roxanne Perez. Roxanne sitting in the middle of the ring, holding her championship when the Undisputed Era come out to celebrate with her. Cole, Nakamura hold her high on their shoulders as we now enter the era of Roxanne Perez.
It's a hell of an opener.
uh, thank God.
Oops. 1 second. Okay. We then move into Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre. Whoever wins this match goes on to face Sami Zayn in night 2 for the World Heavyweight title. During the entrances, you see Paul Heyman come down to the ring with Brock Lesnar. The ring announcer introduces Drew, and then Paul takes the mic away to introduce Brock. Before Paul can get a word out, Drew snatches the mic out of Paul's hands and asks if he has signed the contract like he promised. Heyman stumbles on his words a bit, but says yes, he signed it. Drew asks if he could see the contract because God knows he would be a fool to trust anything that comes from Paul's mouth. Paul hands over the contract as Drew is checking to see if it is signed. The bell rings and Brock charges across the ring and starts a barrage of clubbing forearms onto the back of Drew McIntyre. Um, he gets pushed back into the corner, and uh, as he get as he has pushed him back into the corner, Drew manages to shove Lesnar back, and as Lesnar moves Jesus, back in to attack Drew, Drew nails him with a Glasgow kiss. Drew backs up and awaits Brock to get to his feet before going for a claymore. Brock moves out of the way just before Drew connects and manages to grab him out of the air and hits a German suplex. Brock then picks Drew up off the mat and nails another German suplex. Brock picks him up for a third time and nails a third consecutive German suplex. Drew rolls out of the ring after this and takes a moment to recover. Brock just paces around the ring waiting for Drew to re-enter. The referee gets to a count of 8 before Drew gets back in. And as he is stepping through the ropes, Brock is quick on the attack. Drew, despite the assault, manages to get behind Brock Lesnar and hits a German suplex of his own. Drew then goes to pick Brock up, but Brock quickly gets Drew on his shoulders and goes for the F5. Uh, Brock throws him off of his shoulders, but Drew manages to land on his feet and he hits the ropes before connecting with a claymore to Brock. Drew goes for the cover, but Brock immediately kicks out at 1. Drew backs up and counts down as Brock gets back up to his feet. He then charges across the ring and connects with his second claymore. He sees Brock is not quite out yet, so once again he backs up for another claymore. Once Brock manages to get to his feet, Drew charges across the ring and nails his third consecutive claymore. Drew gives a slight smile to the crowd, but this fraction of time has allowed Brock to roll out of the ring. Drew takes a moment to be upset before heading out to get Brock. As soon as Drew exits the ring, Brock picks him up and connects with an F5. Brock doesn't give Drew any time though, as he picks him up and brings him towards the steel steps before German suplexing Drew into the side of them. Brock re-enters the ring as the referee is now on a count of 5. As the referee gets to a count of 6, Drew is still leaned up against the steps, seemingly out of it. The referee gets to 7, and Drew is starting to shake the cobwebs out of his head. The referee then gets to a count of 8 as Drew is trying to get back to his feet. Count of 9, Drew manages just to pull himself up using the apron, but he is still on the outside. And right before the count of 10, Drew manages to roll back into the ring. Brock wastes no time and picks up Drew and hits an F5 in the middle of the ring. Brock covers Drew. 1, 2, kick out. Brock sitting confused in the middle of the ring. Cameras pan over to Paul, who is in pure disbelief that Drew just managed to kick out. But Brock eventually gathers himself, picks Drew back up, and goes for another F5. This time, though, Drew fights his way off of Brock's shoulders and hits another Glasgow kiss before connecting with a future shock DDT. Drew lays on the mat beside a down Brock Lesnar before kipping up and heading towards the corner. Drew counts down 3, 2, and as he is about to do 1, he looks over to Paul Heyman and flips him off for the 1, and charges across the ring and connects with his fourth claymore of the match. Drew then covers Brock. 1, 2, 3. Drew then sits in Drew then sits in the middle of the ring next to Brock Lesnar and just laughs at Heyman, who now has a look of horror across his face as he is realizing that CM Punk is just one loss away from him being forced to resign.
Uh-oh. Alright. This one's gonna be a short one. All of them are gonna be short after the the one I did. The opener. Whew. The alliances are alive in this match. Finn and JD start off working together, as do Dom and Priest. The bell rings, and immediately Finn and JD go to jump Priest. They throw him out the ring, followed by Dom. And JD quickly lies down, and Finn goes for the pin. One, two. Priest breaks it up. They couldn't steal it. Priest and Dom start picking at each of their targets. Finn starts beating on Priest on the outside. Priest is trying to put Finn through the announce table when JD finally comes in to stop him from doing it. But for his troubles, gets hit with a South of Heaven on the outside. Fast forward, and Dom is now fighting Finn. Finn has the upper hand until Dom just straight up low blows him. Dom throws Finn in on the middle rope, goes for a 619. JD once again comes in to save Finn. Dom instead hits JD with the 619. In the final moments, there's only JD and Priest in the ring. By some miracle sent by God himself, JD has the upper hand. As he hits his finisher on Priest. With Finn down, he decides to go for the cover. One, two. JD gets pulled off by Balor. They start arguing. JD tries to defend himself when Priest gets back up and hits a massive boot on Finn, sending him flying out the ring. JD goes to attack, but Priest grabs him by the neck. He hits a South of Heaven on JD. He goes for the cover, but Finn's back up too. Finn quickly climbs the top rope. One, two. Before three, Finn is able to hit a coup de grace on Priest's back while he's pinning JD. Priest goes rolling out the ring. Finn goes to cover JD. One, two, three, and still Intercontinental Champion Finn Balor.
Okay.
Fucking, I'm pretty sure in real life Dom is about to pin Finn Balor for the fucking IC championship.
No, so in real life, I feel like it's gonna be a situation where like Finn has the win, but Dom is just gonna throw him out the ring and take the win for himself.
That
Like he's
would be
gonna hit a
sick.
coup de grace, and then Dom's gonna pick him up, throw him over the top rope, rush, and take the cover.
All
Okay,
right.
we move on to the match you said didn't belong on the card. Cody and Ricochet versus AOP for the tag titles. Prior to the match, everyone's in the ring. Cross is hyping up AOP, and Cody and Ricochet are speaking. AOP easily decides that ACAM is starting the match whilst Cody and Ricochet are seemingly talking about it. It's more that Ricochet is making his case, but the bell rings and Cody immediately charges across the ring to attack ACAM. Cody lays in a few chops, but ACAM just shoves him across the ring. Cody quickly gets up and charges back in, but ACAM just drops him with a big boot. Akam and Razor then control the match for the next few minutes, tagging in one another and just beating down on Cody. Razor is in the ring and is just stomping away at Cody on the ground. Cross is on the outside taunting him whilst he is getting beat down. Cody, after being stomped on the back a couple of times, starts to fight back. He fights his way up and manages to stagger Razor back a bit. He goes to rush over and tag in Ricochet, but before he can get there, Razor grabs him. Cody is close to tagging Ricochet, but Razor starts pulling him over towards his corner. Before Razor can get to Akam, Cody gets out of Razor's hold and drops down and hits him with an uppercut. Razor staggers back into his corner and Akam tags himself in. Cody manages to get up and tag in Ricochet before Akam can get to him. Ricochet springboards in and takes down Akam before rushing across and knocking Razor off the apron. Ricochet then rushes over and hits some punches before getting Razor into the corner. Ricochet then backs up and charges in and nails Razor with a crossbody that brings him out to the apron, and then hits a springboard dropkick. Ricochet then goes over and tags in Cody before heading up top and hitting a 630 onto Razor. He then gets up and hits a suicide dive onto Akam on the outside. Cody gets into the ring, picks up Razor, and hits a crossroads. Cody goes to crawl over and cover Akam when Ricochet slides in and charges across the ring and nails Cody with a hidden blade, a sliding clothesline. Ricochet then looks over to Cross, who has this devilish grin across his face. Ricochet then gets Razor up, who picks up Cody and nails a powerbomb. before tagging in Akam, who then also powerbombs Cody. Both men lay on top of Cody for the 1, 2, 3. AOP retain.
Okay, okay. Only one title change so far. uh, Perhaps a bit worrying.
It's only been I'm
Three
two
matches.
title matches, three title matches. Okay, it's fine.
Okay, that's about to change. Don't you worry. All right.
Yes, because the controller is on the line in this match.
No, no, that shit got destroyed
No,
a long time ago. Uh, okay. These two turn from bitter enemies to best friends to bitter enemies again. There's no love lost here. Kevin is ready for war. The bell rings and we immediately get a hockey fight. These two don't care. They just start breaking all the way to the outside. The ref can't control this. KO finally gets the upper hand on Stone Cold. The ref goes up to tell him to get in the ring. Not Stone Cold. KO just hits him with a stunner. KO goes to pick up Stone Cold, but Austin hits him with the stunner, throws him into the ring post. Then back into the ring. KO tries to hit a stunner on Austin when he gets back in the ring, but Austin sees it coming and reverses. Austin tries to throw KO to the ropes, but KO stops it and throws Austin to the ropes, going for a pop-up powerbomb, but Austin bounces off the ropes and just hits a Thez press. Austin's calling for it. He flips KO off, kicks him in the gut, hits him with a stutter. One, two, kick out. Stone Cold can't believe it. He goes for another one. KO gets up. We see he has a bloody nose. KO tastes the blood, gets confused, and he puts his hand on his nose to see he has blood leaking. This pisses him off. Stone Cold goes for his stunner. KO counters. He hits Austin with a stunner instead. He throws Austin out of the ring, and he does what we all know he was capable of. He picks up Stone Cold, hits an apron powerbomb on him, and then another, and then another, and another, and another. Five apron power bombs. Austin can't stand. KO throws him back in the ring, picks him up, and tells him, "You made me do this." And he hits a pile driver on him. KO finally goes for the cover. One, two, three.
Jesus Christ.
It was a slaughter, but it
Might as
had
well
to be
throw
done.
a freaking Steenalizer in there too while you're at it.
Had to be done. Had to be
It's
done.
just outright brutal. Five apron power bombs to like 60-year-old Stone Cold Steve Austin. Alrighty, we move into the women's triple threat for the women's championship between Charlotte, Bayley, and Becky.
The main event of night one.
The main event of night one. Before the match, we see Becky and Bayley both make their entrances. Nothing special from them, but then Charlotte's entrance starts. You see her come down to the ring riding on a chariot led by some Mustang horses. Charlotte gets to the bottom of the ramp and is brought down gently off of her chariot by some quote unquote servants. They all have a more royal look to them as Charlotte enters the ring and poses for the crowd. After that, the announcer introduces everyone and the match begins. Once the bell rings, both Bayley and Becky immediately head for Charlotte. They beat Charlotte into the corner and hammer down some punches before she manages to roll out of the ring. Becky is quick to follow her to the outside before giving chase until Charlotte rolls back in. Becky follows as Bayley tries to land a forearm onto Charlotte, who ducks and Bayley hits Becky instead. Bayley apologizes to Becky as she just cocks her head to the side and starts having words with Bayley. Charlotte takes advantage of this and shoves Bayley into Becky, sending Becky out of the ring. Charlotte then goes for a quick roll up, but Bayley kicks out at two. Charlotte quickly gets back on the attack and, and drops a knee to Bayley's face. She then heads towards Bayley's legs and starts working them over. Charlotte then gets onto the middle turnbuckle and is seemingly planning to drop a knee across Bayley's leg, but Becky gets up on the apron on the outside and starts punching away at Charlotte. Charlotte is fighting back, then out of nowhere, Bayley gets up on the middle turnbuckle and hits her with a Bayley to belly back down to the mat. Bayley goes for the cover, but Becky gets back in to break it up. Bayley then gets up and Becky and her stare down as Charlotte slowly rolls out the ring. Bayley and Becky share some words before exchanging blows in the middle of the ring. Becky eventually wins the exchange and starts to work on Bayley's arm. After working over her arm for a few minutes, Becky goes for and manages to put Bayley in the disarmor. Bayley is writhing in the middle of the ring when Charlotte slides back into the ring and hits Becky with a natural selection. Bayley rolls out of the ring holding her arm as Charlotte goes for the cover. 1, 2, Becky kicks out. Charlotte, furious this didn't put Becky away, gets up and, just like she did to Bayley earlier, starts working over Becky's legs. Charlotte goes to lock in a figure four on Becky, but Becky quickly rolls her up and gets only a count of two. Charlotte and Becky then make their way to their feet and exchange some words before Becky just slaps Charlotte across the face. Charlotte goes to swing at Becky, but she quickly snatches her arm and locks her in the disarm her. Charlotte now trying to make her way over to the ropes when Bayley gets back into the ring and nails Becky with a rose plant. Bayley covers Becky. 1, 2. Charlotte just manages to break up the pin. Bayley then picks up Charlotte and goes to hit her with the rose plant, but Charlotte manages to fight out and shoves Bayley into the corner. Charlotte nails her with a couple of chops before Bayley does a bait and switch and gets Charlotte into the corner. Bayley then delivers some chops and punches of her own before picking Charlotte up and placing her on the top rope. Bayley hits some more chops and climbs up top with Charlotte. It seems like Bayley's attempting to go for a superplex before Becky rushes in and rushes over and gets underneath Bayley. Becky then nails Bayley with a power bomb as Bayley superplexes Charlotte off the top. All three women are laid out on the mat for a few moments before Becky crawls over to Bayley for the cover. Bayley kicks out after a count of two. Becky then rolls over and covers Charlotte, who also only gets a count of two. Becky then sits up as both Charlotte and Bayley slowly make their way to their knees. They talk some trash before exchanging chops, punches, and forearms. All three keep this exchange up as they get their way to their feet. Bayley goes for a big forearm on Becky, who swipes it away to Charlotte. Charlotte staggers back as Becky quickly goes to hit a manhandle slam. Bayley reverses and tries to hit a Bayley to belly before Charlotte rushes back in and nails Bayley with a big boot. Bayley drops down holding her face and rolls under the bottom rope. Whilst Bayley is rolling under the bottom rope, Becky turns Charlotte around and nails her with a manhandle slam. Becky goes for the cover. 1, 2. Charlotte just manages to get her shoulder up. Becky quickly grabs onto Charlotte's hand and locks in the disarmor. Bayley once again comes over and tries to interrupt it with a rose plant, but Becky reverses it and throws Bayley into the ropes. Once Bayley gets back to Becky, Becky nails her with a manhandle slam this time. Bayley then rolls on top of a face down Charlotte, and Becky gets on top of both of them and locks in a disarm her on both Bayley and Charlotte. Both women are trying to get out of it and seem like they're on the verge of tapping out. Becky sinks in the hold, trying to make them tap, when out of nowhere, Cora Jade slides into the ring and smashes Becky over the back of the head with her briefcase. Becky drops down to the mat, and Cora rolls both Charlotte and Bayley out of the ring before picking up the briefcase and handing it to the referee, cashing it in. Cora then eagerly awaits a now dazed Becky to get to her feet before nailing Jaded and covering Becky. 1, 2, 3. Cora Jade wins the women's title. Um, Charlotte, who just rolled back in the ring, locks eyes with Cora, who is now basically in tears as she has announced the winner and is handed the women's title. Bayley's leaned up against the apron, holding onto her arm, and Cora is now celebrating in the middle of the ring with large amounts of confetti coming down. Cora then heads up to the ramp and holds her title high as Roxanne Perez comes out, and the two of them hug at the top of the ramp, both holding their newly won titles high in the air as the show closes for night one.
What the hell would you have done if Roxanne lost?
I would have just not said it. I was like fairly certain Roxanne was winning, so I was like, yeah, I'll I'll just write this in. But if it doesn't happen, then I could just say she celebrates in a large amount of confetti.
Whew. Night one.
I don't know how you want to do it. I just switch that match to a fatal four way
Yeah,
instead
that's what I
and make for it.
do.
Okay.